A chluicheadair h-Albanach Jade Konkel a cainneachug éithchó gawn sa bhanna corman an the rugby. I ghangan yi a bhíchó mesal agus a chluich go sports for shop, chola is a teulach a club innatal Craig Deneen in an ish.
Back in my day, when I was young, there wasn't much rugby for girls. So I was the only girl in a boys' mini club. So that was with the Highland Minis. I was about 9 years old and I spent a year there playing rugby. And that was like the age before I could then, there was nowhere for me to move up. So I stopped playing rugby when I was about 10 after that season. And every so often, a couple of times a year, there would be some form of development day. So Lindsay Smith, one of the ex-Scotland players, used to do loads of development days with girls rugby. And so I used to go along to some of them. Quite a lot of them were in Perth, and I would join a random rugby team and play in a tournament a couple of times a year, if that. But it wasn't until I was 17 that I was like, no, I'm fed up. I want to play rugby. I'm watching my brothers play rugby. I'm watching my dad play rugby. So I want to play rugby too. So when I managed to learn to drive, I drove to Edinburgh for a development day. I had no idea what it was whatsoever. Just seen it on the internet and was like, I'll go and trial for it, see if I can play a bit more rugby. And then I got selected into the under-20 squad. Which I actually got the email when I was on holiday with my sister. And I was like, we need to go home. I need to cancel the next family holiday. There's a camp. I can't do anything now. This is it. And I was gobsmacked. I just didn't expect anything. I just drove down to Edinburgh for this development day. And next step was into the under-20 squad. So when I got into the under-20 squad, I was like, well, this is massively a step up. I need to actually start playing rugby. So I was like, well, where can I go? And Lindsay Smith played for Hillhead Jordan Hill at the same time. So she was like, well, why don't you come down and see what you think? So I used to drive every weekend to Hillhead Jordan Hill from Inverness to get some game time. So that's kind of where it started. And then I was like, well, I need to move. I'd quite like to go to university. So let's tie them both together and try and get into university somewhere around that area. So I applied for like Glasgow and Stirling kind of area, and then got into university, and then decided to make the big move, even though I used to always tell my parents that I would never move out of Inverness. And now look at us.
Ha Jade Mochjal is a gluas at the rangi go Hillhead Jordan Hill. Lan jetolachaschi.
When I was moving, I didn't really know what to expect. But I was just happy to get to play rugby. And the fact that I was getting to play rugby at such a high standard in Scotland was incredible. And I used to love every time that we would play Murrayfield Wanderers back in time about how competitive that game was, because it was something that I'd never really experienced before. So I kind of moved down and I was completely like going into the unknown, but what I actually ended up being involved in exceeded expectations. And, you know, the club were really welcoming. There were some great people around. Heather Lockhart, I definitely wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for her. She literally held my hand through thick and thin. And again, she's somebody that came from Hillhead Jordan Hill. So, you know, a really good group of players that definitely helped along the way.
A stavrag an the davile chiad. Sanunda je vies hier chluiche game. Bris Jade fewn in a bachien an the sil rugby na Halappe, maar a hiet vad nach Alpenach a chluich rugby profession to la ùine.
So I got taken into a meeting and they sat me down, and it was everyone that was there. So obviously I was quite nervous. Like, and the first thing you think about is, what have I done? Why am I in trouble? It's like back in your school days when you get taken in and your teacher's like about to tell you off. So try to think of all the things that I'd done wrong. And then they just said, based on, you know, the last year and working with you as an athlete, we see a lot of potential and we really want to offer you a stage 3 contract. So to me, again, I was completely blindsided because it was never a thing. So I didn't know what to expect. I didn't expect that conversation happening. And then I didn't really know what was going to come from it. So as I always say, like, I definitely cried. I cry at a lot of things. And I'm okay with that. You know, I'm a big, tough rugby player. I've got lots of tattoos, but I cry a lot. And that's fine. So yeah, that came about from there. And then I spent a year with the Stage 3 Academy lot. And obviously I was the only female in that group, but then taking it back, Heather Lockhart was definitely really good in that environment that helped me get through that first year with all the guys. But really, really fantastic start, because as much as I was the first one to get it in 2016, look where we are now, and we're only going to continue to develop. So the first but not the last, and I think that's what the most important part of it all is. Because if you look at the way the sport's developed, in various countries. The fact that we could start it back in 2016 to start, putting more into the women's game and developing and actually showing younger players that there is going to be a pathway and there is a pathway for women. I think that opened up so many eyes. So then even now in 2021, players can see an even bigger path now. So we started it quite early on and we're just going to keep building from there, which I think is absolutely fantastic.
A se bhí bliana amsan rang chun iniste chluicheadair de Harlequins ag bar a phríomh chuig díoch an na sasing. Tá Jade i tuileach airtas i dhéanamh na scileann aiche, ach saon am sa léana gordam le skipan na h-Alba far a bhfuil cuidí na cainach na séir aiche an na rugby.
Obviously everyone wants to win. So like my first win in Broadwood Stadium 2017 against Wales, that was the first time I won for Scotland during a Six Nations tournament, which was absolutely fantastic. And then the fact that we got to go to South Africa was incredible for a two test tour, because that's something I'd never experienced before. So the fact that we got to go away as a squad, really kind of gel, build our culture and come away with 2 wins, again, was absolutely fantastic. And then the recent draw against France. So obviously I've played for many years. I've been on, the back end of some high scoring games. So to come back with a 13-all draw against a team who are 5th in the world is definitely a massive highlight.
Sa bhliain na far an duvinnig alap a da game iad lé an na rugby na ban, ach ag gynnu nam for a deach gemichin gerbir son cúpa na crinne salú buai COVID-19 diag. A Jade dáchas a chast I gceanna na duliatasan bo bliain na fichit.
It's been a very tough year for everyone. I think there's been some highs and some lows, but the fact that we've managed to get some rugby in is absolutely fantastic. And throughout lockdown 1.0, every week we had a Zoom fitness session, which I'm not sure many people will thank me for, but it brought us all together, which was nice. And then to come back, having games postponed, games cancelled, constantly being in and out, are we playing, are we not, to come back and then get that 13-all draw against France, despite everything that had happened previously, just shows how much we can continue to build with all that kind of negative stuff being thrown at us. And you've got to control the controllables, and half the time we don't know what we can control right now with the way the world is, but you've just got to take each day as it comes, plan and keep doing what you can within that time that you have, so then when you are back to it, you're going to be in the best shape possible. And it is important to just stick together. So, having those small conversations with your mates in the team, checking in on each other, and then when you can, if anyone fancies doing some burpees, then I'm always on the other end of the laptop to join them.